Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about the transit Venus in Pisces. Now, first thing, what's interesting to me about this transit, okay, of course, when Venus transits Pisces, it's making the transition from Venus in Aquarius into Pisces. When Venus was in Aquarius, people collectively may have been more objective as far as evaluating lovers and how they're seeing them. But when Venus enters Pisces, the energy is a lot more subjective. People are a little bit more idealistic as far as their lovers go and in their relationships. And really, it can be a little bit unrealistic as well as far as the way they look at their romantic partners or potential ones. Now, the positive, though, is that during this period, people in love are more likely to overlook transgressions of their particular romantic partner. And during this period, you look at this, of course, the energy is very idealistic. And the thing that I look at it as far as this goes, the person, if somebody is unattached and they don't have a significant other or romantic partner, they might be looking for that prototypical lover. And really who they're looking for might not be attainable. It might be somewhat unrealistic, but it could be something where they may be attracted to somebody that's either embodies Pisces-like characteristics or is in a Pisces field, like the metaphysical, spirituality, perhaps somebody that's a poet, somebody that's a dancer, perhaps somebody that may be very self-sacrificing. It could be somebody in photography, videography, somebody in special effects, or an illusion, such as working as somebody that works as a magician. It could be really during this transit too, on a negative too with this is that you might attract people that are more, maybe they might be connected with drugs and or alcohol. So that is something to be careful with during this transit. Now, also during this period too, you might keep in mind that Venus is also about what we value. So during this transit, you may value more, you may value dreams more, ideals, spirituality, the metaphysical, perhaps things connected with self-sacrifice, maybe even photography is another example, and really understanding, maybe things connected even with intuition, perhaps during this time. And really, this could also be a period too where you look at Venus. Venus is about money as well. And when Venus transits Pisces, when it transits Pisces, it's going to start the transit, okay, the next time around is going to be from January 3rd, 2017 to February 3rd, 2017. What I find interesting about this, of course, during this time, there's a lot of places in the world where, of course, the weather is colder during this time than it is ordinarily. And you might have more people, of course, going to pharmacists, getting perhaps prescription medicine for some cold or something, or some severe cold. You might see more people buying cold and flu over-the-counter remedies. Keep in mind that Pisces does rule drugs and chemicals, and so I think this has a lot to do with that, this transit. And also keep in mind that Pisces rules the feet, and you might see more people really during this time when the weather is colder during this transit, well, or at least colder in a lot of places in the world, not necessarily every place, but a lot of places in the world experience colder temperatures during this time. You may have more people walking around in the colder weather. They might not have their feet protected the way they need to, and consequently they get literally their feet do get cold, and they might see a lot of that TLC, that love, that tender loving care more shown toward the feet for these reasons. And there might be a little bit more might be something painful may occur. Like say if you have nerve damage to your and it affects your feet, well, the cold can exacerbate that. So it might be something where you might have to wind up maybe spending maybe some money to perhaps take care of that. Of course, Venus is over money. Pisces does rule the feet. So that's just an example there. And also too, during this period, you might Venus is also about our enjoyment, and it could be where you might find more enjoyment in fantasy like things or games such as Dungeons and Dragons would be one example. Any other fantasy game like Worlds of Warcraft or World of Warcraft, whatever it is, it's one of the two I just said. I believe I don't remember the exact name of it, but you understand what I'm saying. Video games, things that take you out of reality, enjoyable things, and also other Pisces-like things could be dancing, poetry, expressing enjoyment with those fields. Chemistry sets, if you're for somebody that's in school, that might be something that might interest them more during this time than usual. And one last thing I want to get, I thought was interesting, I wanted to note that I had known a woman some time ago, and she had the Venus in Pisces natally, and it seemed like with her, she really, I hate to use the word delusional in love, but I think that very well may have applied to her. It seemed like her significant other, she had always had made basically excuses for him and said, oh, and the person that she was connected with was apparently in and out of jail and was involved with drugs. And really just and said, well, this is my soulmate, this is who I'm destined to be with. So this transit can make one overly idealistic, very unrealistic in matters connected with the heart, and they might delude themselves into thinking that maybe somebody really cares for them when really there might be actions that might contradict that. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the transit Venus and Pisces, and stay tuned next time where I'll be talking about the transit of Mars in Aries. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.